Let's go. We just going with it. We just doing our thing right now. We gonna vibe. Somebody said give him an hour.
I gave you my love.
Hey.
I tell you what I do.
Later.
I expect a whole lot of love out of you.
Bareback Podcast, what's up?
You got to be good to me.
Mr. Alexander, what's going on?
I'm gonna be good to you.
Hey, Mel, you know I had to get it in. What's up, Tim?
A whole lot of things you and I.
What's going on, J Love? Yeah, this is one of the Owl's most slept on songs right here. I'm about so tired of Pharaoh with this nonsense. And sometimes y'all just gotta chill. You got to respect a man's woman, you know, his wife. Honey, what are you doing back there? I can see your butt. Yeah, you got your butt all up in the air.
What about the way you love me?
Oh, you getting your toys?
I know ways.
Oh man, that owl, what's going on, CC?
Yeah.
That owl green is the truth.
It's simply beautiful.
Yeah. Hey.
Yeah.
What's going on, Bobby?
Beautiful.
Owl green let me know to respect grits too.
When you get right down to it. Oh.
This is when they was really making that music. You hear it? That's my dude.
Baby, when you needed me,
I was right there.
beside you, girl. Baby.
Hey, you can just roll to this, and it's like, you, man. Are you coming to me? Ooh, kick the coffee over? Okay.
No, girl. Sometimes when you're feeling low,
Hey. All you gotta do is call me. Hit that like. If you ain't subscribed, you should be ashamed of yourself. Simply beautiful. Thank you, CC.
There's so many good things I could say about you, girl. I could say that
She my music baby. She love her some music. Yeah, that's my music baby. Yeah, that's my music baby. You feel like a Puerto Rican with this hair? Yeah. I feel like a Puerto Rican with this hair. Puerto Rican! Oh God, them kids seen that video and with that little dog with that wig on, saying he felt like a Puerto Rican with that hair, and they ain't stopped. Y'all gotta hear these two. Odell is a Puerto Rican with that hair? Yeah. Says Odell is a Puerto Rican! No, her and Easy go back and forth, like they go back and forth so much with that. You know, I mean, it's like, cause it's a time difference, of course. So Easy usually calls it like 6 in the morning, and as soon as he FaceTimes, you know, where Dooney at? And they get Dooney on the phone. She ain't even woke good yet. He was like, Dooney, I feel like a Puerto Rican with this hair. and she just popped right up out of her sleep. Puerto Rican. I guess that's that brother and sister love, man. Whew. But I tell you what, it's been a beautiful thing, and I do want to say once again, thank y'all. And this time I can be very serious. Um, Everybody who cash at me on my birthday, I appreciate it. It ended up, I did put it to good use, and I actually just shared drinks and food with my family. It was a good thing. I don't celebrate birthdays most times. And then, I mean, I think I'm starting to get over that trauma part of my life. I never used to like to celebrate birthdays after my mom died. But this was a great birthday. This was a great birthday. I went home, and anytime I go home, it's great because I have this gigantic family. My son is having a baby, as I told y'all. And he had pushing up nearly 200 people at a baby shower. And the funny thing is like, it wasn't like a bunch of outside people. That was literally family. But as I told y'all, my grandfather was a true stud, and my mom was, I think, kid number 38 out of 40. But yeah, he left it all on the table. Ain't nothing, not one drip was wasted. He did his thing. He was but yeah, it was beautiful, man. You know what I'm saying? I got around them, and we had the greatest time ever. Eric, I'm hoping I get there by the end of the year. I've talked to a few people who want me to come down there, and I'm hoping to get there. We're very close to really getting everything done here. I've actually had to email some more stuff this morning, but we're getting very close to getting this thing all the way rolling. The WBA is already rolling. The IBKC is already rolling. So these are beautiful things. The podcast, I'm still trying to get the first episode up this week, so hopefully we're successful in that. But things are looking good. On the out of the country list is Australia, definitely Jamaica, England, Barbados, for sure. What's going on, East Shore? For sure, we're getting to Colombia. I'm already scheduled for Colombia and Brazil, so it's racking up. You know what I mean? It's racking up, man. See, oh yes, yeah. I definitely got to hook up with my Americans that's who support me the most. But it's funny, from Australia, I've had some cool dudes hit me up, and I love the fact that Australia is like a no bullshit country. Much love from the Philippines. Much love from the Philippines. Absolutely, I'm coming. I don't even count Canada as going out of the country. You know what I mean? That's like, I've been to Canada so many times. It ain't even like going out of the country. I'm from Ohio, so it's just that one drive. What is about 2.5 hours, and you're right there. But definitely Canada. We got a lot of work to do in Canada. We got a lot of work to do everywhere. But before I go into dogs, and I was just telling a friend this. I appreciate the support on many, 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 many levels. On all levels, I truly do. And as I've told y'all before, you'll have idiots, you'll have weird people, you'll have a lot of people who are trying to do a multitude of things to discourage us from continuing this mission. And with that being said, you know what I mean? Oh, for sure. I look forward to meeting, everybody in Canada, man, and really reestablishing the American Bully there. And in this not podcast, but this live is a lot to do with the American bullying. Y'all excuse me 1 second, because I forgot to take my phone out of the case. And if I don't do that, it will overheat in this 2-hour span. So let me get this thing out of here. Great. Let's see if it'll sit up there without falling now. Okay, it's sitting without falling. You know what I mean? Yeah, my Papa definitely was a Rolling Stone, by the way. But man, so much has been going on, and like I told y'all, I love the fact that y'all support me when people talk shit and different things like that, and a lot of it you can see through. It's going to get worse. It's going to get worse as we're endangering something that a lot of people have turned into a big I gotta get me a damn cooling cape, Daniel. I gotta get Mr. Bean's cooling cape. It's funny, they do have a little thing that you can put on there to keep it cool. You were joking about it. I literally like I guess because I look up stuff for iPhone so much, they send a little thing. It's a damn ice pack for a phone. I'm like, why don't y'all just fix the phone that it doesn't overheat instead of making ice packs for it? But you know, with all that being said, you know, I've been around this a while, and some of you are just getting into this, and I want you to be able to understand what I'm saying. You know, I sometimes do like the negativity that comes when people try to do whatever they're doing with me, because it's becoming very transparent and people can see through a lot of the BS and the lies. I also like it because they keep my name in the algorithm. It helps me push incredible numbers. And no matter what, if those numbers are being pushed like that, I can get the word out there as to what's really going on in this community and why we should stop doing a lot of the things we're doing. So, you know, I'll address some of it. I'll let some of it go. I'll laugh at it. But, you know, as I've told y'all, like when it came up and you had those guys who were talking about they were going to destroy me, my numbers went up and they lost money. They lost money because I stand on truth, you know. What I'm, if y'all notice, I will put up something that I have for sale every now and then if I have it for sale, but I'm not big into selling things. I've got waiting lists. I've got people who, you know, want this certain breeding or that certain breeding, or so. Selling things is what's going on, Chris. Selling things is not a big issue for me, but this message is, and the message of healthy dogs and the message of what a real American bully is the number one thing that I'm worried about. You know what I mean? Exactly, Chris. We're rebuilding a foundation, you know, and something that we can go off of, and that the dog can actually be successful. So, you know, you take the good with the bad, you know, and you learn. And what I've learned over time is, before I would get into, y'all remember, I would get into these moments where it would get to me, and I would go to my street mentality where I would tell somebody, you know what I mean, I'll slap the fuck out of you. You know, that was my first thing, you know what I mean? And I'm that much proud of myself that I've grown from having good brothers around. And y'all know I shout out my crew every time, whether it's Mel, whether it's Chris, whether it's my man Michael Sniper, who I got to call today. I got to call my man Pope. You know, my Hawaii family, the Estevezes. You know, the list just goes on and on and on. D-Line, Canada, Northern Edge. It's a lot of people everywhere, and I know I'm missing names. I always say Cuzzo, who always shows me some love, but you know, even down to the guys that y'all know, like whether it's Oscar or you know, or my guy Memo, who keeps me abreast with everything. And they actually you know, invited me to South Africa for the IBKC. Who, no matter who it is in this community who's been showing support, I've grown to appreciate it, and I've grown to understand that, like we talked about yesterday, as you go forward in the dog world, it's like the rest of the world. You know, we've all become friends with certain people that we thought were one way, and find out that they're a totally different, you know, animal that you're dealing with. But you've got to keep on moving, and you've got to keep those doors open, because if you shut all doors around you, you're going to miss out on a lot of blessings and a lot of beautiful people. And at this point in my life, man, I have been blessed with some beautiful people. You know what I'm saying? You know, the people that I've named, whether, you know, Chris Braden is on here, Mel, you know what I mean, Mike, Pope, these guys are family, you know what I mean? And Pope is actually Alan Dennis. These guys is family, you know what I mean? Even if I'm not doing dogs, and 90% of our conversations have nothing to do with dogs. So you take the good and the bad. And I will tell y'all this, and I'm only telling you this message to get this through, is that, you know, getting back into martial arts and getting back into combat sports actually helps me keep levity. And it's strange how that works, you know what I mean? Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Montgomery's, I agree 100%, you know what I mean? Mr. Campbell, what's going on? And I can't forget my man Alexander. You know what I mean? It's so many good people that, you know what I mean, that I'm meeting. Mr. Lewis, you know, it's good folks, man. But you know, one thing with martial arts is this, and I used it in boxing, you know, but everything is tactical, you know, and everything teaches you that even in the midst of battle, you have to be disciplined, you have to be thinking, you sometimes have to learn to adhere to a person's strengths. And this is strange, but y'all follow me on this. When you're fighting, the funniest thing about this is, say for instance, in boxing, you know what the number one, man, you know Rihanna, man, you know me and Rihanna, we so in love. Can't nothing disturb that. But but I had, because they was questioning if that first baby by Rihanna was mine, so I had to go ahead and go back to back on. I'm like my grandpa, Rolling Stone. But in fighting, one of the things that you find out is that a jabber in boxing, jabbers don't like jabbers. You find two good guys who both have good jabs. They hate each other because their strong point counters each other, and it sort of makes it very hard to land what you want to land. Just like if you get a person who likes to fight inside, they more so like people who fight outside because they're unfamiliar with the territory inside, and that's why they have a severe advantage in it. And I was telling, I was on the phone with Mel, and I was telling him an experience that I had with boxing, and I was getting taught by a very, very intelligent guy that I seen this weekend. He is very intelligent, but he told me what I'm telling y'all now, and at that time I was pretty young, probably about 16 or 17. But he was telling me, he said, I'm gonna tell you something about the ring that's strange. He said, Bruce Lee always says be like water, but he's like, at the same time, understand what that means. Be very, very fluent. Understand your opponent. Understand the different ways that you can go about disturbing your opponent's rhythm. He said you don't have to be more physical, but you disturb their rhythm, and then you disturb their mental rhythm, because it's a physical rhythm, then it's a mental rhythm. And this dude was very, very good, but he used to throw this nasty combination, and it would be 3 left hooks in a row. And they could come from basically any angle, but his favorite way to do it is to go to the body, come back up to the head, then come back with what the third one was oftentimes like this weird thing where it wasn't an actual hook or an uppercut. It was like something right in between there. But he would drop a lot of people with this shit because it was so awkward. If any of y'all box or you watch boxing, not too many people double up on hooks. Roy Jones was famous for doubling up on a hook. Tripling up on a hook is insane from the same side. So he would catch you with it. So needless to say, I got caught with this thing a couple times. And I got caught with it a few times, you know what I mean? And it was brutal. And so my uncle kept saying the adjustment. He was like, adjust. Do what he does. Do what he does, but figure it out. So in the middle of this fight, I knew the way to stop a hook was to step towards it. If you step towards it, you take the leverage off. And this is boxing talk, so I'm not going to bore y'all with that too much. You'll see where the analogy comes in at. It's just like the jab. If you step on the jab, you're crushing it. You're taking the distance away. You step outside that foot. It's hard for them to turn. You're too close. They don't have enough space to really put anything proper on it. You can throw an uppercut from that. But anyway, so what I did is I stepped towards it, and I start throwing the exact same combination that he was doing. But because of the angle of me stepping to his foot, when I was throwing the same combination, it was coming down the middle. It was actually hitting him square in the face, square in the sternum, and digging up under the, digging lower on the stomach. And it frustrated the hell out of him. You know what I mean? We talked about it after the fight. I actually won those sparring sessions with him, and he won the first couple. And he asked me, he said, "What the fuck were you doing to me?" And I said, "You don't know?" I'm like, "You don't know what the hell that was?" He's like, "Bro, what was that?" He said, "Because I didn't know how to get around it." And I told him, I said, "This was your exact same thing. I just abbreviated by defending what you were doing and throwing it back at you." And then it dawned on him. He's like, "That was my shit, huh?" And it was probably one of the times where in combat sports, let's just say that, where I really got, the 44 laws of power and some of the other lessons that come around where you talk to other martial artists, like the be like water thing, act weak when you're strong, vice versa. All of these different things is that what's going on, Manuel? Is that now I sort of play a game with people. You know what I mean? Like I'll sit there and I'll play this role of I don't have anything going on. I'm just gonna let you go ahead and be an asshole. I'll be your friend. You can be an asshole. Then I'll give it to you. You expose yourself. You know what I mean? All that negativity and all that bullshit that you come out and you show your true colors, I'm patient enough to wait for you to fuck over yourself. The good people are going to stay in their rhythm, but then I can do the exact same things to you, but I'm doing it on a righteous cause and it destroys you. So, you know, so when you see me and I let people go for a long time, that's all I'm doing. So what happened is, you know, y'all seen me do it with the Tone Roden guy. And the ironic part about it is the Mark dude who owns Remus was the first one to start giving me the information to talk shit about Tone and them and was sending me all the things about their dogs having issues. But, you know, a coward will never go out and say it on their own. So they want somebody who's got some balls to say it. So I did that. You know what I mean? So yeah, the facts kill them. And the thing of it is when you come back with that same rhythm at them that they thought was going to hurt you, it destroys people. Because if your rhythm is coming from a good place and coming with straight facts, like Chris just said, and you're coming based off of truth, but their whole thing was malicious and lies, you can come that and you can spit that shit right back at them and it destroys them. You know, as y'all seen, you know what I'm saying, Tone Road and them guys got all the way away because the facts were you don't breed a dog that has bad breathing. It don't matter what you try to say about a person. Next thing you know, they're on a live crying about losing $40,000 and $50,000 based off of the truth. You turn around and you look at this situation with this clown dude who for whatever reason just decided he was gonna start tripping and make up fake beef and stab me in the back, and now everybody's saying don't fuck with the guy and he's not no breeder, he just bought a dog, and they doing all these things. I didn't even have to say all of that. You know, and this is the way the rest of the game goes. The same thing that we saw with the American Bully over at the ABKC and different places of that nature, mainly the ABKC, but the same things that we saw, and I'm just turning the car back on. But the same thing that we saw from these people, lay your head this way, Pumpkin. It comes back, and I'm just adjusting a little bit without letting the phone fall. There we go. It comes back, you know, because what we're doing is we're basing everything off of truth right now. We're basing everything off of, we'll take all of the action that you're given and we'll take that information and we'll spit it back at you. And so when, you know, so when Dave Wilson decided to come out of his mouth and he decided to say that a dog being bigger was more important than a dog being healthy, and that's basically what he said. You know, he tried to paint it with the, you know, Manuel, I don't know. I don't even know what an exotic is. I don't even think that they can explain what an exotic is. You know what I mean? I've seen them argue back and forth. Like, to me, and that's a great question, to me, a hairless Frenchie is an exotic. You know what I mean? It's not a Frenchie. You know, Merle Frenchies are exotics because the French Bulldog doesn't carry an exotic gene, so you've obviously mixed something in there. These more bully or extreme French Bulldogs are really exotics because we know where that size is coming from. My man, you know, who I love and I respect him, but he's got some Frenchies. He just threw a litter where he's got a French Bulldog that's the size of a pocket bully. The dog is probably going to be like 55 pounds. You know, it's huge. That those genes are coming from people mixing dogs in to get certain features and characteristics. And, you know, I think all of those dogs should be considered exotic because they're not what they're proclaiming to be. But we still have yet to see what a real, what's going on, Tone Rodriguez. But we still have yet to see the exotic community establish what's an exotic. You know, I see them argue a lot, like, that's not an exotic, that's a shorty bull, this, that, and I don't think they know. I think this is what you have when you have an area or a room of people or a group of people who have done things with absolutely no organization and absolutely no train of thought for a goal. What is the goal of an exotic? You know, what is the goal of an exotic? We've sat and we've also heard this thing, you know, and like going back to Dave Wilson and transitioning these two things together, Dave Wilson and the ABKC now pushing this extreme over healthy dogs. Where is your end game with this? And the reason we say this is because, you have to have an end game. And one of the biggest problems is not only do you have to have an end game, but you have to have a point where you're saying you're having an explanation of all of your movements. So one of the biggest problems in the breed right now is the fact that you know what I mean, man, it's crazy. I don't know what to call them dogs, but the thing of it is this. Hey, I was just talking about you, Miss Estevez. Good morning. You know, the thing of it is you have to have an end game. You know, you have to have an end game. You have to have an end game, and you have to have an explanation of everything you're doing throughout the process to get to a certain point. You know, right now it's more so like they've established a culture that's sort of a gang, and you have people who take up for them. You have people who do all these different things, and they don't even understand where they're at. We have to establish more so. You know, Grouchy Smurf, I think Dave doesn't run the ABKC. Y'all have heard me talk about that story before. Bashar in the interview, that's why they wanted the interview down. Bashar was basically speaking as one of the owners of the ABKC, and that's what's going on there. You know, it's one of the reasons why they're pushing the extreme. Is Dave sells extreme dogs now. He sells what Bashar sells. Bashar is, you know, Bashar has him in a position to where Dave really can't move away from Bashar. It's a reason why Bashar has never started a registry. Bashar owns a good percentage of the ABKC, and Dave is contractually tied to him. You know what I mean? So they have to go that way. It's the reason why y'all hear the old interviews and Dave talks about how he wants an athletic dog. He hopes the dog gets more athletic. He hopes the dog gets cleaner and this and that and the other, but the dog was damn near perfect. And he was talking about 15 years ago. And you know what I mean? Yeah, Bashar admitted that they rewrote the standards after his dogs. And this is what I talk about with process. If you rewrote the standards, say after a Casablanca or a Mr. Beans, where does that leave all the other dogs? Because the one thing about it is that the bear would not fit with those dogs. You know what I mean? If the standard is rewritten after those dogs, the bear wouldn't fit. Mufasa wouldn't fit. To be honest with you, a Bistro wouldn't fit. Most of the dogs that we have would not fit, and they're being more aggressive now and letting you know that they're pushing towards that standard. So what they've done, in a sense, and this is one of the things why maybe more and more people are having problems with paperwork and different things of that nature, and I don't know, is they have eliminated what was known as the American bully, and they're pushing something totally different. They're just not saying it because they still want your money. You know what I mean? All right, Louisiana Band Dogs, hit me up, 346-349-9840. 346-349-9840. I'm going to be trying to get with everybody. I've been supposed to get with my man back in Ohio for 2 weeks now. But the thing of it is that you have to account for those dogs. And y'all heard me speak on this in one of these things. And I've got some videos that I didn't actually activate yet. But what does it mean? I don't know what Sean's doing, man. I don't know. I mean, none of it makes sense to me anymore. You know, none of it makes sense. And the thing of it is like, what happened to the real classic? No one has ever even thought about that. But what happened to the real classic? Because if the now standards and other pockets that were considered to be too clean or whatever, if they're now classics, what happened to the original classics? The dogs that were champing out for 10 years, and people have programs based off of those classics now. Where are they at now? And then, you know, how far is this going? You know what I'm saying? Sure, I got to. I apologize, brother. It's been a lot, but I got to get with you for sure. We have to ask so many questions, because what does that do? I've actually seen them say that King Kamali is a classic now. Well, if King Kamali is a classic, it's a whole lot of dogs that don't stand a chance in the classic class, and they've been basically pushed out. But what does that mean for all of the standard dogs? You know, Where are they at? Where's the line at that the dogs that used to be standard are now supposed to be classic? And you've basically removed all of the dogs from every class and you've made a whole different class. Where did those dogs go? The biggest problem with this thing is that if you say that those dogs no longer qualify, and the American and regardless of what we say, we've never really had you know what I mean, enough whatchamacallit. I mean, I seen King Kamali in person. He had enough bone. He had enough everything. Pictures really don't do King justice. King was a lot thicker, a lot bigger than what you see in pictures. Pratt said, I think that his highest weight was right around 90 pounds. But King had enough of everything. And this is going to be the biggest problem, is because are we judging, you're giving and taking too much. Because the bone thing, Denzel in his time was known for his bone size. Now I see dogs that have like crazy big bone, well, sort of like Mandela, and we're saying that, okay, now it's bone and it's mass over everything, but you lose the integrity of the breed. The integrity of the breed is what this dog started from, and that does include its personality, its temperament, overall conformation. And I've never seen any breed put themselves in a category to say one feature, well, if you want to call it two features, but they use the word substance, which basically means size. This is the only thing that qualifies your dog as an American bully, is bone and girth. That's a crazy way that you want to start to, you know, talk about having a breed. And the thing of it is you're going to erase the whole history of the breed. You're going to start to put down dogs like Remy. You're going to start to put down dogs like Pokemon, Hallie, Paco. You're going to put down all these dogs and say that they're not enough. Meanwhile, you're pushing dogs that aren't half the dog they have. If you go down a checklist of qualities, most of these dogs didn't have the attitude and the drive of a Remy. Hell, they didn't have the attitude and the drive of a Hallie. Most of these dogs now couldn't even stand in the ring with those dogs, you know, as far as personality, drive, health, and conformation goes. Now think about that. I just said in personality, which we can say is temperament. But if we say temperament, you know, then we go to your overall health, then we go to your conformation. That's a big issue. You know what I mean? That's a big issue. Because the problem of it is if we go to those things, then how do we not count the issues of these other dogs? Because when we go to the bully class and we talk about how bully dogs are, how many of these dogs that are praised for their extreme bone and their extreme, which muzzle was just now brought up, their extreme muzzle, their extreme this and that and the other, how many of those dogs can actually breathe and move without falling out? How many of those dogs actually have the ability to have some kind of drive and are not curs running around with their legs between their tails? You know what I mean? The thing of it is the American bully is not a pit bull. King Kamali wouldn't be considered a pit bull. The problem is that the bigger question is, do we want American bullies or do we want bulldogs? Because even when we were talking about the muzzle, we never believed in the pushed-in muzzle. You like the blockier muzzle, but the pushed-in muzzle, now you have dogs. I was just talking about you, Pope. Now you have dogs now that don't have a muzzle. But we're allowing the dogs that don't have a muzzle, that have breathing issues, that have all of these issues, we're calling them bullies. But the dogs who actually have a muzzle that might not be quite as blocky, like say a Remy. Remy didn't have a big blocky muzzle, but now we disqualify them as being American bullies, even though the standard is based off of those type of dogs. This is why the American bully is having a big issue. You know what I mean? And the problem is that as far as a real American bully, what is a real American bully? Because me and John had a big part of writing this thing, and at no point in time was the real American bully supposed to look like a bulldog. Henceforth, that's why features like wrinkles, circular eyes, muzzles being too short originally was a flaw. Now you always wanted the broad muzzle, and you correct about that, Nori. You wanted a broader muzzle, but the one thing you didn't want is you didn't want the dog to be to have the pushed in face. The reason why we talked about that, and I remember that meeting because it was about 20 of us there, is there were several dogs, including the now owner, one of the owners, James Cooper. He had a dog, and I forget that fat ass dog's name, but he couldn't breathe. This was a major issue to us. The dog used to come to shows, and he actually used to breathe better than these dogs now. But he would sit up there. That was a mess. Yeah, this is the same James Cooper. He was one of those people that used to keep the little clicker shock collar on him because the dog was sort of hot, and he would keep shocking the hell out of the dog every time the dog barked. Weird shit. But that dog, I forget this fucking dog's name, and I know his name. But he had that serious breathing. He always sounded like he was supposed to die. The reason that was brought up, and John will tell y'all that, is almost specifically because of that dog. Because Cooper would travel, go to all kind of shows and stuff, and the dog was actually a very good looking dog, but he couldn't breathe. You know what I mean? But the thing of it is you know what I mean? Well, I mean, the dogs on the West Coast, I judge tons of dogs on the West Coast. The dogs from the West Coast who the breed started at, none of them had just did crazy wide muzzles. Now, when you got to the Monster G, he had a wider muzzle, but like Monster J, he didn't have like the super big blocky muzzle. He had a nice muzzle. Gotti's muzzle wasn't. Gotti was pretty much snipey. But one of the things is that the muzzle, the conversation about the muzzle, because at that time we used to talk about the 2-finger muzzle. One of the big conversations about that muzzle when we were deciding what to do with the breed is the functionality. And at that time you had real dog men in the room, and we understood one thing about the muzzle. If it got too short, it was a recipe for disaster. The reason being is what we see today. There is no dog on the face of the earth that carries a ton of mass that doesn't have a muzzle, because you need that cooling system, or the dogs are going to start having breathing issues, and they're going to start overheating. They're going to have a multitude of breathing issues. You know, we saw it with the smaller breeds. You know, the 2-finger, everybody wanted a 2-finger muzzle at that time. That was a big deal, but it was causing problems. And I remember specifically John, I remember Tilo used to talk about that. A lot of those guys, you know, you had to have a actual muzzle, you know. And one of the problems is now is that we have so many people that are saying what an American bully is and not following the standard. If you look at the original American bully standard, the original American bully had a muzzle. It was described as broad, not short, not pushed in. You wanted, even if it was like, even if you had the 3-finger muzzle, you wanted to have that muzzle that spread across the whole face. That was your job. So you definitely didn't want it snipey, but you didn't want these pushed in bulldog faces that we're seeing now. And it goes directly back to, at that time we had a vet from Mexico, and he used to hook up a lot of things, and he talked about that. You're going to run into serious breathing issues if the breed gets obsessed with pushed in faces. And it was one of the reasons why we wanted to steer away from that. And it was another reason why we really wanted to steer away from bulldog traits, because there are some known health issues that were going to come along with it. Now we've broken it down. You know what I mean? I was more of a 3-finger muzzle guy myself. The 2-finger muzzle worked. Thing used to throw a lot of the 2-finger muzzles, but they were still broad, and you know what I mean, and they were enough. You know, some of them worked, but it got to the point where you were getting 1 finger and no muzzles at all. You know, and the type of mass that that came along with the dogs was a big question mark. You know, and well, I mean, the thing of it is that. And this is the conflict, and this is the funniest thing, is me and Byron talk nowadays. And by the way, if people didn't know, Byron is actually the one who named the American bully. What's his name? Used it first in shows, but Larry Durant. But Byron is the one who actually, you know, came up with the name American Bully, and Larry Durant ran with it, and it continued to go. But the BKC was the first organization that used the name. But this is a big issue, and it's a big issue that we see now. because what we have is we have a conflict between the creators of the breed and the general public of the breed. The term too much terrier is a scary term for us. And I tell you why. They were terriers. We were trying to make the biggest, bulliest terrier. We weren't trying to make a bulldog. It's one of the reasons why the bulldog was so taboo early, is that the dog was a terrier. It was meant to be a very big, muscled up, on steroids terrier. It was not ever meant to be a bulldog. So now you know, now in our community, the word terrier has like this whole super negative context. But look at the original standard. They were terriers. You had the Staffy, you had the pit bull. That was what the dog was intended to be. Now, we were taking it to an extreme version of that, you know, extreme muscle mass, extreme bone, extreme cheeks. And y'all have heard this description from a multitude of us, even from videos 20 years ago. That was the goal of the American bully. You wanted Cairo's muscle more wide, a shorter muzzle, but you still wanted the cheeks, the more pronounced cheeks, the more the more muscle through the chest, you know what I mean? But the one thing that you never wanted to do, absolutely, Chris, what's going on, Ironheart, is your dog was not supposed to be a bulldog. That was that was a serious flaw. It's one of the reasons, and I tell y'all this, if you ever want to see a dog that is the biggest conflict nowadays, look up Corrupt. In Corrupt's day, Corrupt, when they first brought him out, they caught so much flack because those brothers had American bulldogs. And everybody's like, they mixed that shit in there. He weighed too much. They beat the shit up out of Corrupt. Nowadays, he looks like an average dog. Somebody might say he was more terrier. But that's where we were at with the breed, and that's one of the problems with the breed that I said is as far as direction and control. We went from the basis of what the breed was supposed to be and capitalizing on those features of the breed to changing it to another breed. And that's what you have today. And that's why I tell people, like Nori said, the 3-finger muzzle, you know what I mean, more muscled up dog, bigger cheek dog, clean dog that's obviously not a bulldog. That's what we're gonna push. I don't have anything for an extreme bulldog type of dog. You know what I mean? It's the thing of it is that, you know, no, definitely you don't definitely want a pit bull, but you want a pit bull on steroids, as it's always been described. If you take an American bully and you can't see the UKC pit bull in that dog, and I'm talking about, you think of the dogs like the Sierra Gaff dogs. If you take that dog, it's supposed to be that type of dog, but boom, just exploded. Like you were literally shooting it up. It's supposed to be that dog plus 20 pounds. Plus 2 to 3 inches on the head. Muzzle comes in a little bit shorter. Exaggerated features, but you're still supposed to see it in there. The problem that in the big debate that has happened now is that you have dogs, basically they have erased all of the terrier out of the breed, and these are oldies. These are oldies now. These are oldies. Not much, T. Lottie. We discussing the American bully and what it's supposed to be, and the ongoing debate. But you know, I agree a lot with what Nori is saying. It's going to be that balance. You have to. It shouldn't be a pit bull. It shouldn't be a bulldog. It should be something in between. You know what I mean? Well, I tell you the truth. We made them. We made them without that. We made them without that, and this is what Oscar talks about. You know what I mean? It was a lot of people who did shortcuts, and that's it. Like, and I can't wait to get Oscar on the podcast so we can talk heavy about that. Is the funniest thing about it is that a lot of those dogs, when we were breeding in the early days, and I'm telling you, I was so young then, but your whole entire litter would probably be terrier, except for 1 or 2 dogs. This is why I think I heard Dave talk about that in the thing where he said you basically had the puppy mill because you were just doing a selective breeding thing. This is why if you look at the biggest dogs from that era back in the day, the biggest problem you had is that Most of them you would never see their siblings. You know why? Their siblings look like basic pit bulls. A lot of the Razor's Edge dogs were still being shown at the UKC because they were coming out like pit bulls. And you would selectively pull this one. You would selectively pull that one, pull this one. And sometimes you would still get it back. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? You would still get those traits. And this is what you were supposed to be doing, though. You were supposed to be selectively breeding it out. What happened is people got impatient and they really pounded the bulldog. Now we know, especially West Coast, it was already some people who were throwing little bulldog in here or there. But it's a reason why when you look at the dogs, and I always tell people this, if you look at the older dogs, right, it's a reason why they don't look like bulldogs. The bulldog's trait is so dominant. We've seen it today. When you take a bulldog and you mix it with a terrier, that dog shows up bulldog. It shows up a lot of bulldog. If you know those who know dog lineage, the bulldog is older than the what's going on, Rico? The bulldog is older than the pit bull. The bulldog is one of the foundational, you know, it really is the foundation. A lot of real old school pit bull dog men still call their dogs bulldogs. The bulldog has the strongest genes. So if it was this, you know, this thing to where it was a ton of bulldog mixed in earlier, you would have seen it. You'd have seen it all over the dogs early. Every dog would have had that bulldog look, because one thing you can't do is you can't mix bulldog and it not show itself. Their genes are too strong. Ask a band dog person, they'll tell you, you don't erase the bulldog genes. You try to contain them, but the bulldog will show no matter what you do. That bulldog genes is showing up. His genetics is so strong, it dominates everything. It sort of reminds you of the Rottweiler. Everybody knows if a Rottweiler get loose in the hood, every stray dog in the hood gonna have a Rottweiler's coat down there. They might not look exactly like a Rottweiler, but that coat shines through. The dog is bred so strong that their genes just tend to dominate everything around them. That's a bulldog. This is the reason why the early dogs, they didn't look like bulldogs. It was a ton of selective breeding. That's what sort of made them special. You don't see people running around talking about all the short shots bully litter mates. You don't see Hallie had, you know, even Hallie, she had a sister that was sort of nice, but she wasn't like Hallie. You know, now Hades and Poncho were big like that, but the other dogs in the litter were very terrier. You still had that point back in the day to where, you know, the litter mates of a lot of these dogs were super terrier, and you pet homed them or gave them to some of the homies or whatever the case may be. Dave used to give away dogs for like $200 and $300 all the time when he knew that they weren't going to make the thing, make the cut. You know, it was something that you had to do. You know what I mean? Yeah, they're gonna try to fuck up the Rottweiler. Usually, I can already tell you that, Justin. They already doing it with those weird heads and them long necks. They making giraffe pug Rottweilers as we speak. But the thing about that bulldog gene, and y'all check into it, it's strong. You can see when the American bully really got invaded. And Nori is right. It's some old school dudes that we knew back in the day. I told y'all, Richard Gotti, Juan Gotti's owner, you know, they brought Legend in there, and it was obvious that Legend was a bulldog mix right off top. It's a ton of questions about Monster G, but those were the few and far between. And then you just had these people, and a lot of them on the West Coast, they could get their hands on some of those good oldies and the more solid Alapahas that didn't carry the Merle trait. Cali was at one point in time, you know what I'm saying, they had the Alapaha game on lock as much as the South did. And when I say the South, I'm talking about Georgia, you know what I'm saying, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, with those Catahoulas. And them boys out on the West, they could definitely infuse some bulldog a lot better than the guys out on the East. You know, I don't know about it, but I tell you one thing about it is, I mean, I don't know what he ever did with it, but Dave had a chocolate and white Catahoula / Alapaha. You know what I mean? But it was I never seen him do anything with her, and up till about 4 years old, I know she never had a litter because it was Deanna's dog. But yeah, you know what I mean? You could put it in, but the bulldog trait, this is why up until I would say the Dax era, the Miyagi era, you didn't see that bulldog look as much. Then all of a sudden when Dax hit, and y'all tell me, you look at the shit and you'll see, you know what I mean? The thing of it is that double Merle gene is a scary gene. I'm gonna be posting a lot about that today. But the one thing you can see, you know what I mean? Let me see. Now, I tell you one thing. You know, Nori, I'm going to tell you this. I love Greg. But this is the one thing we're going to say about Greg. Greg will tell you some truth, and then he'll ingratiate. I've often said that Greg, yeah, Greg will, I love Greg, but Greg will make up some stories and go with it. I will agree, and I will not doubt that somebody might have tried to get a Hermes or two. But this is the thing. Greg's not sitting on a story that long. You know what I mean? Greg's not sitting on a story that long, but you know what I mean? You know what I mean? I mean, I've known Dave for a long time. I've known Dave for about 20 years. And the one thing, see, and we all get different perspectives. So I will agree with Nori and everybody else, as we've always said. There were guys mixing bulldog in. Then there were guys who were very strict and they wouldn't. I'm gonna tell y'all one who was so strict that he was ahead of his time, and that was Oscar Gomez. Now, this is where the tricky parts comes in on everybody's theory that you can't make a bullier dog without bulldogs. Oscar has now, at this point, hold on, let me get this correct. I think he's up to 13. It's either 12 or 13 generations of DNA tested dogs. I mean, every generation DNA tested. I know Oscar personally, you know what I mean? I mean, the thing is, Nori, we've all said there's some type of bulldog mixed into a lot of these dogs. Dave acknowledges it. But we weren't the ones. I know for a fact myself, Oscar, Pratt's, different guys weren't. But we also know that a lot of the dogs, and you could you know what I'm saying, you could do it in a way that you could track back 20 years, and you can see a lot of dogs come from straight terriers like Catman Roo and those type of dogs, and they were producing. You know, you could see some of the more petite dogs, and they would produce a bigger dog. You would see people go along, and y'all excuse me, it's starting to rain like crazy, but you would see a lot of different lineage to where a lot of people just didn't believe in it. Now you go back years and you had the Whopper blood. The Whopper blood was Mastiff blood. So we know that was there. There were some questions about Mr. Brooks blood. But the thing of it is, and this is where things get strange at, is a lot of the foundational stock of the American Bully actually competed in the UKC. A lot of them won UKC and AKC dogs. I know my man Gary from Premier, he had UKC. That's what he used to do. He was a show guy. He had UKC and AKC champions all through his yard. The old Fox line, the Fox line dogs, a lot of them were AKC, UKC, and they were transferred into the American Bully dogs. You know what I mean? You had some dogs that were super terrier that people brag about that were in there. So I think it's a melting pot of what was probably put there. But there are a ton of breeders who didn't do this big thing that they're talking about, where it was like, oh, everybody sneaks some bulldog in there. My earlier dogs were terrible. Yeah, Knuckles was very terrier. But when I say my early dogs were terrible, they were terrier as hell. I had some dogs that were like 35 pounds and shit like that. It just didn't work out, and that's where you can see genetics come into play at, because this is the problem. If all of the early dogs were like these super heavy bulldogs, no one really knows how much was put into, because you're talking about a million breeders. I mean, but the one thing you can see is you can see certain breeders who obviously were doing a lot, and then you've seen other breeders that that kept a certain look. You know what I mean? That kept a certain look, and the look wasn't deviated. One thing that you can say about the edge dogs throughout the years, and that's why I gravitated towards them early and kept on breeding them, was the look. In the Edge family, now you think about all the earlier Edge dogs, how many of the Edge dogs actually look like bulldogs? There's very few. It was very few that you would look at an Edge dog and be like, yeah, that definitely has a bulldog in it. It just wasn't throwing a look. And that's the thing of, now and I agree with all of y'all when y'all say it was some bulldogs out there. We know that. We know that there were paper hanging. But when we talk about a breed, we can't base an entire breed off of a few people who cheated. And the one thing that I can tell y'all about my 20 plus years in this thing is that genetics don't lie. Most of the edge breeders, if you go to all of them, the early dogs, right? You're very hard pressed to find any of the earlier edge dogs that just popped all of this bulldog traits. You know what I mean? You just didn't. You didn't see that. You know what I mean? This is why Little Row, keep in mind, before Little Row, that look didn't exist in the Edge family. I challenge any of y'all to go find another dog that looked like Little Row before Little Row. Now, and one thing about it is, if you keep on trying to do that, you will, for the most part, get, a balanced weight on your dogs. But sometimes you're going to get those anomalies. Even I've done it when you take a dog like Mandela. Everybody accused me. DNA showed them that they were full of shit, but everybody accused me of doing something crazy to make Mandela. It just pulled on the genetics. No, his litter mates didn't look like him. They were more thick traditional American bullies, but he pulled some of that boom boom. He pulled from the size of his pedigree, and he blew up. You know what I mean? Even in Denzel's litter, and this is how litters can work sometimes. Even in Denzel's litter, you had Biggie. Biggie got up to 118 pounds. Biggie was gigantic. You know what I mean? 18 inches, but he had like all of this muscle on him. You know what I mean? If we go into the bully history, I could tell you one thing, Nori. None of us know that. We don't even know who Little Ro's mom actually was. I was there, and we still don't know, because it was always the debate about him and Kai, and it was always a back and forth between the individuals who were right around that breeding as to if they're even really brothers. Like, we don't know who, because some of the shit, like Dave was sneaky. This is one thing I will tell y'all. You know what I'm saying? Dave was very sneaky. You know what I mean? Very sneaky. He still is very sneaky. But Dave would just pop up sometimes with these breedings, and you're like, where the fuck did that come from, Dave? Oh yeah, that's such and such brother to this brother. Yeah. And that's what I got. And they look at him. And you know, and I mean, because for one, outside of the Elite Edge family, no one went to his house. Dave stays on a 1 million acre farm out there. Well, it's not a farm, but it's he got a ton of acreage out there, to the point that, like I said, we used to go out there and shoot guns and shit. He got a ton of land, but nobody would ever go out there, so you never, ever know what the fuck Dave was doing. Sean will drop you some secrets every now and then. You know what I mean? But then Dave argues those secrets, and then he claims that Sean got some secrets. And man, I'm one of these people who I will be humble enough to say I do not know what went on with Razor's Edge Kennel or Gotti Line Kennels. And the thing of it is if anybody tells you they know exactly they're not being honest with themselves. Because the one thing I would tell you is, I was so tight that I could stay at Dave's house. I go on I go look, Nori, see, you going more deeper waters, man. That's what I'm saying. It's a lot of stuff back then that we can't go into. You know what I mean? It was some backroom deals that, and y'all know me, I'm plugged in like a motherfucker. I done seen damn near every dog in the bully world. I know a ton of the bully players. Most of them love me. I love them. When I tell y'all about these backroom deals with these dogs and different things of that nature, you would never ever believe or know what the fuck was going on. You get Byron on here, and I'm telling you, the shit will blow your mind, because even some of the dogs that you think were the more popular dogs, it didn't make sense. You know what I mean? The timing didn't make sense. The way the pedigrees changed up didn't make sense. You had a lot of tricky dudes, but I'm going to tell you one thing about the Edge family. The Edge family, most of the paper hanging wasn't anything to do with a bulldog. What started to happen is this. This was a time, and I heard that recently that something was going on like that with that dog Samson. But this was a time, right, where, say for instance, Byron would send Armani to somebody and they would keep him for some months. You know what I mean? That's why I told you I had Ro for like, I think like 8 months, 8-9 months at my house. Then we had him in Florida at Danny's house for another, you know, so basically between me and Danny, we had little Ro for well over a year. Literally, we had the dog just with us for over a year. I've had Bigfoot out to the house. I've had all kind of dogs out to the house. That's how that bullshit happened with Godzilla when I got locked up, because he was there to get beefed up, and my crew did a big letdown, you know, when I got locked up. But thank God he lived. Let's just put it that way. But I get pissed off still thinking about that shit, because I put weight on dogs. I hate that they didn't do what I told them to do. But you know, all of these situations, the one thing that would happen is these dogs would stay with people, man, and they would pull the dogs, of course, or they would do breedings with the dogs. You know what I mean? They would start putting other dogs' names on the. Is Samson a bistro son? What's Samson? I only know 2 Samsons. I don't know any bistro son named Samson. The Samson that I posted is a Denzel son. The Fawn Samson, he actually beat Bistro on the show. But yeah. But you know, the people were like stealing semen is what it amounted to. They would get a dog, and I just wasn't hip to. I wasn't hip to it. If I was hip that they was doing it like that, I would have froze. I would have froze Bigfoot when I had him out here. I would have froze. I would have did a lot of freezing. I would have froze the hell out of Little Ro when he was out there. You know what I'm saying? I would have froze a ton of dogs, man. But I didn't know that. And what happened inside that is you have a lot of dogs that are papered to one thing, and they're Armani dogs. Or some of them, you know, some of the Little Ro straws aren't actually Little Ro straws, which now it doesn't matter. The ones that are still available, pretty much we know they're Little Ro straws, depending on who had them, and there's very few of them out there. But a lot of it was just mixing and matching, people using big name studs that were known to produce, you know, to try to make their dog look like he produced. And you would get these patterns, and you'd be like, dog, your dog don't have a lick of brindle nowhere, and it's throwing all these brindle dogs, but you had Ro over there for a while. You know what I mean? Dogs that come out with big ass heads, you like, your dog did not produce that, but okay. I look, when it comes to anything that Dave posts now, it's not real. It's not real razor's edge, and I don't agree with posting dogs that have known health issues. Demon Boy has a breathing issue. That's why a lot of people fell off of Demon Boy when they brought him out. Nori is on here. He can tell you when they took Demon Boy out there to Virginia, and people saw how he breathed. It was a big issue. He isn't as big as they thought he was, you know what I mean? So he's probably on the Bashar steroid plan. And anything off of that stuff, I'm not trying to be a hater. I'm just telling you, you know what I mean? I look at my dogs like my kids. Anything, you know what I mean? If I was building a kid, I wouldn't take any bad family characteristic and put it into my kid. I'm not going to do that with my dog, you know? So most of the dogs that little boy that Dave put up, you know, he's an overdone dog for what they like. But, you know, it's rough, you know? It's rough. You know, Byron get at their ass. That shit be funny, man. He, you know, he might go over the top because he don't like a lot of them motherfuckers no more. But it's so much that that happened in the past. It's one of the reasons why I'm telling a lot of people is that we have to get back to proper, you know, to proper basis. One of the basis and one of the things that was lost in the American bully culture is one of the things that Remy really stood for. The dog is supposed to have some drive. You know what I mean? The dog is still supposed to act like a dog. He's still supposed to be able to move. We did focus on athleticism for a while. You know what I mean? We focused on athleticism. You know what I mean? And the thing of it is now is that that's lost. You know what I mean? I don't think that there's a need for people to do a natural tie. Keep in mind, most of the studs that we have out here nowadays are miles away from each other. It's hard for people to go and do breedings in person. More so, the one thing that we need is what I'm going to push so hard for. Well, I don't even have to push hard for it. Either you do it or you don't. But if you don't, you won't be a part of what we're doing. Every dog needs to be DNA tested. It's just that simple. You know what I mean? Every dog, I mean, you got people now, the cheapest American bullies are selling for, you know what I'm saying, $2,000. Why can't you DNA profile your dog for 50 bucks? You know, if you can't do that, but you want to sell puppies for $2,000, you're full of it. You know, you're full of it and you're hiding something. I think that has to be a must. The DNA profiling has to be a must on everything we do. It's partly this whole video so far, we've talked about those things. And everybody needs to be DNA tested. It's transparency. And everything that I'm doing right now, and I'm waiting just to do it under my registry, but Tommy will be DNA tested, you know what I'm saying? Denzel, Mandela, and all of them, they're old, older gone, you know what I mean? Oh God, not Maury. Maury retired. We'll be able to do profiles in about 2 weeks, you know what I'm saying? But you know, Rico, that was the essence of our breed: an athletic, big, muscular dog that could breathe. These health issues were not a part of the American bully culture, and we have to eliminate that. You know what I mean? We have to eliminate that. I do believe that there is a limit to how long a now it's two different DNA tests. One tells you about what's in your dog and all that stuff. I'm not the biggest fan of all that shit. You know why? Because we already know that it's a million things that people mixed into these dogs. What I'm more concerned with is having a profile to say that your dog is who he is. You know what I mean? Pharaoh, just go ahead and wait. I think we're down to like 2 to 3 weeks, and everything will be up. Just do it through the site. Different paperwork, everything. That's why I told everybody to fall back, because I didn't want to send them the old paperwork. I don't know what I'm going to do with that paperwork. Probably nothing, you know what I mean? Bonfire, keep some for the memories or whatever, but we're going to do a totally different type of paperwork. That shit was too hard to print on. So yeah, just wait a couple weeks and we'll be in there. You'll be able to do it through the site. But you know, we have to, you know, we have to have a limit on how snipey the muzzle is, and also a limit on how short the muzzle is. You know what I mean? I think Embark is a good tool, but that's it. You know, I don't put a lot of. This is the thing. A hustle is a hustle, right? I think they're giving you very good information on some levels. But what is 100% American bully? How do you say it's 100% American bully when it's a young breed that's derived of multiple breeds? So most of my dogs always come back Like, I haven't even had a dog yet that doesn't come back 100% American Bully. Now, I've seen other people who don't, but I don't know how they work that. I don't know what they're basing it off of or whatever the case may be. But I think it'll get better as we actually have a real gene pool and proper DNA testing to make sure lineage is proper. And that's my only concern. I want to make sure that lineage is proper. So, for instance, and this is a yeah, I know she's pregnant. I got her pregnant, Ryan. Good Lord. Of course. We having twins. Salute. You know what I'm saying, Ryan? Yeah. Yeah, I got you heard it. I love her and she loved me, damn it. You know what I'm saying? I love her and she loved me. But the thing of it is say Joel Osborne, celebrity dog trainer. Yeah, I'm gonna have to check him out. I love his daddy's music. But you know, the thing that we are, you know, are really pushing for is health. You know, you can't. It's something that we want to get. I'm trying to think of the sequence that I'm telling you. Well, I'm gonna tell you. Okay, I'll answer that. Then I'll go back to the sequence. The paper hanging people. The thing about it is that we have created an environment in our community that it is more acceptable to be in a rush for everything. It is more acceptable to say, I need this right now. It is more acceptable to go along with the lies. It is more acceptable to go along with unhealthy dogs. It is more acceptable to continuously, you say, why not call out the paper hangers? Why are we not calling out the people who are dropping dogs off at the Humane Society? Why are we not calling out the people who are producing dogs that are attacking people? Why isn't that when we hear these stories, excuse me, of these dogs that have attacked children, and then that a man out here in Houston just got killed last week by the dog? Why are we not trying to investigate and find out what kennel that those dogs came from? This is why, and I'm not getting at you, by the way, but I'm saying the community has gotten to a point to where we don't care about anything, just the bottom line of how can we push out puppies. People are not being accountable for the temperament of the dogs. I just seen a horrible video that I'm actually going to post, but a dog's just running down the street and he just falls over and tumbles, and you literally got people on there thinking that this is some kind of a joke. You know, I spoke on cleft palates, and I went on and I had to endure 2 weeks of a cokehead and a motherfucking karate star just talking shit about me all week and going crazy and doing this and doing that and doing this and doing that. You know what I mean? It's fucking ridiculous over and over again. You know what I'm saying? Because of nonsense. The dogs are not a priority, so paper hanging is definitely not going to be a priority. Just as we are probably one of the only communities in the whole entire dog world that doesn't health test. We are probably the only community of larger dogs that don't routinely X-ray the hips and the joints on our dogs. The only thing that this community can do is make rap videos, put fucking gold chains on the dogs, yell into microphones, make false claims, and Photoshop. That's all they can do. I would much rather, you know, I would much rather be a community that's more like other communities where these things are a big issue. Paper hanging is a big issue. Oh yeah, 100 Rick. Yeah, 100 Rico. That's what it is. You know, you could, you know, because if you keep it a buck, the problem of it is that what happens is that you have to start losing money. That's part of dog breeding. If you're keeping it real, you're going to start to lose some money because there are puppies that are not going to make the cut. If I'm sending you a puppy, I am 100% confident that this dog is going to be able to survive the elements. I'm 100% confident that this dog is going to be able to breathe well. This dog is going to be able to go through everything that he or she needs to do. You know what I mean? And it's a rough go at it, you know. Like, and just speaking from myself before I go into this thing, you know, I've always told people, and I appreciate the love that y'all show me with some of the incredible compliments, but the reason why I've been able to consistently produce, you know, at the very least a nice dog, is because I just follow the rules, man. The blood will do when it. That's why our motto for years has been trust the blood. It's not that it makes us great breeders. You just trust the blood. You know, you trust what's in front of you. If I take, you know, if I call Pratt's and I use Honey Badger, I know what his blood is. I know what the dog is. He's going to be a beautiful dog. You know what I mean? He's going to be health. You know what I mean? He's going to be healthy. He's going to be all of these things. And then I breed him to something off my yard that I've been dealing with for 20 years. And I know what this bitch is. It's a high probability that all of my check marks are in there. Like just recently, I had to get rid of a male that was overly aggressive. Did I like the dog? Yes, I like the dog, but I had to get rid of him. Overly aggressive. I'm not going to breed this dog. You know what I mean? I'm not going to breed the dog. I sent him to, you know, the homie. The homie don't have no kids. The homie, you know, sort of stays out the way. He's perfect for him. You know what I mean? He got with him, and my homie can put him on a leash, contain him more. He don't have to be around dogs. He don't have to be around small kids. And the thing is that he was, you know what I mean? I don't have any dates, and I'm being honest with you. I sort of push some dates because I want to make sure that they get everything done so people have their paperwork for shows. You know, we made that mistake last time of believing that, and it's not any disbelief to my text, but when they tell me they need another little second to finish this or finish that, I would rather y'all be able to come to the show, and whoever your rep is or whatever, if you bring in paperwork that day and you're filling out your forms that day, they should be able to do paperwork even on the spot if they bring the printers and the laptops. I want it like that. You know what I mean? I don't want any excuses. I don't want to have to deal with any of the haters or nothing, you know, but especially it's just a convenience to anybody who's supporting us, that if you're at a show, you can register right on the spot. If you're sending in your stuff over the computer, you know, me, myself, one of my kids, or the other reps will be able to get you your paperwork right out. That's the way it needs to be now. But we will be having shows very soon in Florida. Like I say, I expect this thing to be wrapped up here in the next 2 to 3 weeks, and then I can go ahead. I've already got great peoples, you know what I mean, that are ready to do everything, you know, the right way. And I'll let y'all know about the Honey Badger breedings. I need to get with Pratt's and see what the situation looks like, but I'm also going to the girl who originally was going to Remus. We just gonna one up that shit, and we're gonna breed that bitch to Armani. yeah, I told y'all it's no problem. Armani, legendary producer, um, super old school blood, you know, 20+ year old, real edge blood, taking him to a nice pocket bully female, great blend there. You're gonna see some good shit, you know what I mean? But you know, the premise of what we're trying to do here is we're trying to, first of all, get all of our genetics in. If we can get all of our genetics in, and what I mean by that is we actually know who's who and what's what in our community, then we can work. You know what I mean? Then we can work. And that's why we're doing the mandatory DNA testing. Eventually, we want to evolve to the point that we're doing mandatory health testing and mandatory x-rays, and you know, and have some evaluation things done at the shows, to where the referee can give your dog an evaluation point as far as you know what I mean, the overall dog, you know, how great that your dog fits into the breed standard. Check your dog's temperament, check over your dog overall, and give your dog an overall evaluation. That would be you know what I'm saying, that would be you know, be great. You know, and I don't want to call out any kennels that I think hangs paperwork and anything like that. I just think if you're looking around the American bully world and you see people who have dogs that totally, where you going? That totally look like a different breed, they're probably paper hanging, you know? They're probably paper hanging. You know, it just, you know, and some people, excuse me, I was actually jumping on, I heard my own voice, you know what I mean? Uh, my plans with Rada at this point, um, I don't know. I know that I'm gonna probably end up trying her with Tommy. If I can't get, we're gonna try one more time on the Mandela thing. But if we can't get it right, um, she ended up having a cyst, so we got rid of the cyst. So hopefully that works out, and we'll get her done with Mandela, and then I can actually move on to possibly doing something like Honey Badger, or I have a short shot. Have a short shot son that's frozen. I have a lot of old school stuff, so I might do something old school that's going to bring some blood. That's going to bring some blood to the table. But Rod is one of my favorite dogs, so I got to get something off of her. And then on top of it, you know what I mean? I just love the dog, man. So one thing I can probably tell y'all is y'all never see Rada for sale. You know, she's a gentle beast, and I love that about her. And I'm just posting this up to the big page, so y'all might see the numbers jump shortly. Yeah, but I think it's of T Lottie, I never thought about franchising or anything like that. I feel like this. I feel like that everybody's on their own. I just want to make myself more available and franchise through that way. You know what I mean? I don't want to, I don't want to the responsibility of having any other franchise type thing, but I do want the responsibility of helping people out who want to get their things going. You know what I mean? It's he's sure crazy, but I want to help. I want to help people out. You know what I mean, and help them out in a more organic way. Um, to produce great dogs and to help them learn learn the legacy. I hope that more breeders, and y'all excuse me as I maneuver over my baby, but I hope more breeders come out that way. Um, foundation, puppies. I think you pick a foundation puppy like you pick a best in show winner, the best overall dog, not the biggest head, not the biggest chest, not the biggest of anything. You just pick greatness. Yeah, that's the female from Killer Noise. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I got a lot of things upcoming. As far as talking about what we did and this, that, and the other. This year is just so packed. We actually gonna finally get the book thing done, and the book thing will be more of a documentary where we just talk about everything. A lot of great interviews in that book. Some of the cats that y'all don't know about, like Big White Gonzalez, and a multitude of people who don't share the spotlight as much. Jake Lipton and all of those dudes, original EE members who helped put this thing on the map and who really put us in a great position overall. And they no longer too much deal with our community, but they continue to make things happen. Uh, I think the history of the American bully is just a beautiful thing, and we can probably push it in a way to help save the American bully. Because one of the things right now, and this is one of the things I wanted to talk about, and y'all hold on, I'm gonna cut the car back on, so I gotta make sure that the phone don't cut off. There we go. But one of the things that I think is important is that people actually know the American bully history and what it was meant to be. Some of the interviews that I'm trying to set up now, and I'm setting them up at a pretty good rate, but I'm talking to some of the people who were around when the dog started, and I understand people's preference, right? But that's all it is a preference. And anytime that you have a breed as an organization, a registry, or even a breeding club, it's not people's opinions that's supposed to matter the most. It's supposed to be whatever the breed has going on that matters the most. And I tell you this, one of the things that has failed the American bully the most is identity. We spent half of this show talking about what the American bully is supposed to look like, and that's sad, being 25 plus years in the game of doing this dog, that we are still at the point that people are debating whether or not the dog is supposed to be a certain kind of way. You know, is it supposed to look like Mr. Beans? Is it supposed to look like this, or is it supposed to be that? And you know, we have to define that. And I do believe that a dog like Remy, a dog like Pokemon, a dog like Toxic, which was Paco's brother, Paco. Those are the type of dogs that this breed was established on, and they should be better. Absolutely, Eshore. I got a little more time today, so if you don't hear from me tonight, I'll give you a call in the morning. But I should be able to hit you up this evening. But we have to reestablish what the breed is. We have to make the breed identifiable. And what the community has to ask themselves is, what is the identity of the American Bully, and what is the identity of the American Bully that can last? Some of the stuff that we're seeing now, it just won't last. You know, it just won't last. What is the predicament and the forecast for the health of the American Bully? Because if the dogs continue to get to a point of being unhealthy, it's almost like Fabian said, we're pushing the limits and the lines of the breed going extinct. The breed will definitely go extinct if we can't put a product out there that can actually last. You know, if we can't put a product out there that will actually be sufficient in breathing and sufficient in the little things that a dog is supposed to be able to do. You know, we haven't even been introduced to the whole world, and we've seen so many people turn their back on this breed already because the things that are supposed to be being pushed are not being pushed. It's just that simple. We're talking about how big a dog is, you know. One of the most I mean, we're not even talking about all the other stuff that's going on around the breed right now. But instead of making this dog a better option, and I know some people are going to cringe when I say this, but instead of making this breed a better option of the pit bull or whatever, originally, you know, is what we said, and it's not to say that the pit bull is a bad dog, but it was supposed to be a better option when you were talking about fighting BSL and all that. The temperament was a lot more toned down as far as aggressiveness towards other dogs. The breed has become, you know what I mean, the drug dealer's dog, you know, the wannabe drug dealer's dog, you know, the money laundering dog, you know, the unhealthy dog, you know, the ignorant dog. And this, you know, what we're trying to do now is we're trying to basically remake the whole identity of the dog. We are going backwards some when we start adopting more of the original pit bull on steroids look. And it doesn't mean that your dog, you know, can't have substance. Those dogs have substance. You're talking about 100-pound dogs is what we were starting out with. You had some big dogs. You had some dogs with size. You know, you had some dogs with great character, big ass bone and different things like that. But we have to lock in that our look and our health is very, very important. It is sad that we have 33,000 American Bully registries and no one is out here really kicking somebody's ass about making sure that these dogs are healthy. That nobody is you know, stepping their foot in the fire to say that we can no longer breed or make dogs like this with good conscience. You know, we have to get back to a point of respectability, and that's not just the American Bully, but that's every single dog. You know, I can tell you, you know, and this was supposed to be, yeah, we are looked at as the lowest, and I don't blame people. You know, from what I've seen in the last year, I mean, from what we've seen people shot over these dogs. I mean, the French Bulldog, they're rivaling because people are robbing people left and right about French Bulldogs and shooting at people and all kind of weird shit about these Frenchies. But this community has created this designer dog. All you see is these videos on these guys on YouTube. Now, this is the $1 million Fluffy. This is the $500,000 Fluffy. His stud fees is $25,000. His stud fees is $50,000. And I have to ask y'all the question, and this is just being realistic and being very, very serious. How many people do you know that make their money legally, that's willing to go out and spend, you know what I mean, $50,000 on a puppy? How many people do you know that's making their money legally that is willing to go and spend $25,000 on semen, or say that they're spending $25,000 on semen? You know, and let's just go further. The prices are higher than that. You don't know regular hardworking people. I don't even know of a doctor. I don't know of people who make yeah, lock in after lock in. It's just crazy, man. This is not, you know, so I mean, this our community by, you know what I mean? Yeah, that's all it is a status symbol. That's why they're making videos and lying about it. You know, dogs that have never been bred before, and they're claiming that the dog is $1 million dog or $500,000 dog, and these different things. But the thing of it is, and that's all good with your marketing plan, but you know, you're getting to a point where you know we're seeing uglier and unhealthier dogs in one avenue, and then we're seeing the issues that we now know that the community is under investigation by the DEA and the FBI and the IRS and all of these different things. And we see people fighting at shows. We've seen a stabbing at a show. We've seen, you know, robberies for these dogs. I mean, honestly, how does people think that this can last? How can this continue? You know what I mean? How can this really continue? I mean, not only are the dogs getting worse, but we are drawing an attention that is going to change. Bless you. That is going to change laws and it's going to change. I don't know what's going on with people stealing Frenchies. I guess they're an easy commodity to steal. They're real little. You can snatch them and get up out of there. And you know, and when you got people who are claiming that they're selling Frenchies for 15, 20, 30, $40,000 to somebody who's broke, you know, I guess it's easier to go in there, snatch a few Frenchie puppies, and you know what I mean. Some, you know, even without paperwork, and we know that's not a problem for most of these people. You know what I mean? They'll go and they'll sell those French bulldogs for, you know, $3,000, $4,000 on what's quote unquote the discount, and it won't matter. You know what I mean? They'll find, you know, some unsuspecting person who won't even care about checking into the lineage or where the dogs came from, and they'll get the dog sold. You know, it's turned into a hustle. You know, it's something else, man. It's something else. What's going on, Slick Nick? You know what I'm saying? Nick got some beautiful puppies over there. You know what I mean? So y'all check out my guy, man. He got something. He got something over there working, man. A great blood, if I do say so myself. But it's coming to the point to where we have devalued what's right in the dog world, and we've put a high value on everything that's wrong. And the status symbol thing is taking this breed to a very ugly place. So many people are walking away, and so many people are scared. You know, it really screwed me up a little bit when I was having a conversation at a recent event I was at, and you know I brought up the American Bully, and then, you know, of course I try to promote the breed whenever I get an opportunity. You know what I mean? And to hear someone actually say, "Oh, I'm scared to own one of those dogs," and my first reaction was just like, "Oh man, they're not that bad." They, you know, because a lot of people like they look scary, but you know it's like, oh no, it's just the people who are around them. And I saw a video and this was happening, and I saw a video and that was happening, and I'm just sitting back and I'm like, wow. You know, that this is the thought process now in some places in, you know, in general America, that they're equating our dogs to some of the nonsense they've seen. And I know they probably seen that TMZ video, but you know, all these things going on. I mean, man, yeah, Mr. Robertson. I mean, we already know the IRS is gonna put a killing on them. I mean, just for them to basically let it be known, you know what I mean, in certain places that we are watching y'all and this is happening, and they're not coming to play, you know. And I mean, and these guys have taken it to the furthest of lengths that they could take it to, you know. And I think the few idiots who made songs talking about, you know, laundering their money through animals, namely these dogs, you know, it's a hell of a thing, you know. I think it's sad that the kids aren't even involved in this shit no more. Kids don't even barely go to shows, you know. Yeah, Yeah, and that's the thing I'm scared of, Ryan, is that they are just going to ban the whole entire breed and shut everything down, because it's just getting to that point, man. You got too many agencies interested. You've already got literal robberies and shootouts and a man dead, dogs killing people. It's gonna be crazy, you know. Oh man, that Hendrix is a bad boy, Nick. But it's very sad, and the only thing that we can do is we can clean up the community. And people like, man, you talking about making, yes, I'm talking about making a community that's so he said they franchising pigeons, good lord, a Mike Tyson thing, huh? But I want a community that's so clean that people can bring their grandma, you know what I mean. I want a show ring that's so tough that people will say that y'all, that they might complain. Y'all judging like y'all the AKC. Yes, you know. Yeah, hey, Justin, everybody better keep their drug money separate. But it's one of those things, brother, where a lot of people gonna get what they asking for. A lot of people are gonna get what they're asking for. The level of what's going on, Brandon Blue. The level of education in this community is way down. You know what I mean? It's way down. Most of these people don't even. Man, hey, Nick, they don't know about those days of protesting. The BSL laws. Most of these people didn't have to deal with the BSL laws. You know. Well, I don't know about Rico. Oscar already said that he'll come through and judge whenever he has some time and we set up something for him, just like I'm judging for him. Now Pratt's that'll be the hardest one. You might be able to pull Marco out of retirement. Pratt's would be the hardest one to get up out of anything. That dude stays so busy. You know what I mean? Man, here he come with his damn Ravens. I'm about tired of the Ravens. I don't want to hear nothing. Y'all give Lamar his money. Y'all give him his money. Then we can talk about the Ravens. Give that boy his money. Pay the man. 250 million guaranteed, 5 years. That's what we want. Look, now I'm his agent. But I mean, it's gonna be, and I say this. Oh, I know you do. I say this is, we have to go back to that mentality of when will the American Bully get to the AKC, and not that we have a realistic chance of getting in the AKC anytime soon at all, maybe if ever. But the one thing is, if we have the mentality that we are trying to compete, you know what I mean, then you know what I mean, we have to get there. We'll have that type of mentality to make our dogs better, to make our dogs cleaner, to clean up our community, to get to a point to where we can threaten, to see what's going on. You know what I mean? No, don't be, hey, man, I ain't got to have no DNA test done on Riri. I know that baby mine. Yeah, man, look, we gonna get her a little Fenty. This time it's 2 girls. I got her pregnant with twins. I wasn't supposed to say that. She gonna be so mad at me for letting this out. But yeah, I got we got 2 little girls. You know what I mean? We're gonna name them Riri and TT. Yeah, you heard it. I'm putting it all out there. TMZ. Y'all heard it first. Yeah, Rico and Nick, I agree with you 100%. We definitely need this damn Tyrone. We definitely need consistency. We definitely need consistency, and we need to just fight for the breed in general. You know what I mean? We need to fight for the breed in general. I'm gonna ignore y'all about y'all comments about my woman. It's just so out of control. So many disrespectful people. This is why I don't fuck with the American Bully world. That's so disrespectful. They're talking about my woman all on live and shit. But Yeah, I mean, we have to change so much, the consistency of the dog, the look of the dog, the temperament of the dog, everything, across the board with consistency. We have to change that and get it to a level place to where we can identify what the dog is. Like Nick said, we have to fight for the overall betterment of the breed. It's going to be a fight that's going to be led by example. If we if we continue to to do the things that are going on in this community, we just giving them a free pass to go ahead and do whatever. And that's why I'm very, very strong with us setting a standard of saying that we are not them. Yeah, we're a big joke to the AKC right now. And I mean, and I believe that we can strongly start getting into consideration as not to get into the AKC. I could care less about getting into the AKC, but getting the respect of being an AKC style dog. You know what I mean? And one of the things that we have to do is we just have to go ahead and separate ourselves from the ABKC, separate ourselves from anything to do with the exotic community. Y'all gonna just think I'm crazy when y'all see some of the nonsense that I have set up. But what we're really doing is I'm literally planning on running commercials that state that we're against what the ABKC is doing. We are against what the exotic community is doing. We're going to literally run commercials, show the deformed dogs that they have been allowing in the ring, show some of the other nonsense. We'll even take some clips of certain people talking about, bigger over bigger over conformity and different things of that nature. And it's going to be what it is. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Look, everybody want to claim my woman. This is some sad shit. It's some sad shit. Go get y'all. I could, don't y'all want Lady Gaga or something? You know what I'm saying? It's crazy, man. But the thing of it is that we have to establish this. This is something that has to be established. You know what I mean? It has to be established that we are not them. Our standard is different from what they easily, because we're not going to be writing anything for Casablanca or Mr. Beans, and ice packs are not allowed in the ring, but the DNA testing, having a stronger veterinary presence, having interviews with veterinarians, and arms of an angel. Yeah, we have to reestablish the breed in a respectable fashion. It's not that we have to be very, very sedition, highfalutin, and all that things, but we have to let our intentions be known, and we do have to really, really state that we are totally against what their community is doing. You know what I mean? It's just that simple. Because right now we are all lumped in together, and it's a scary thing, because as they lump us in together, they have totally and some of it's going to be that. Nick can tell you we were very aggressive back in the day. We were very, very aggressive back in the day. What's going on, Russell Rottweiler Ranch? We were very aggressive back in the day, because you had to show up at city council meetings. You had to write letters to your congressman. And that's something, I'm not lying to y'all. This is something y'all seen when I had all those notes. That's part of the notes that it takes. It's very, very detailed. And I'm glad that I was failing before, because it helped me get better contacts. And yeah, it's definitely, I think it's even worse than history repeating itself, Nick, because the level of idiocy is at an all-time high. We might be up against something worse than what we were before, because at least we had more decent people back then. But we have to be TS Valley. I have no clue on why. A lot of it is we have 95 people in there. Y'all all please hit like if you haven't. When I emailed them, they said sometimes that's what it is that the videos will have a high content of activity, but no one is hitting like. And they say the only way that they really know that people are on this video for real is if they hit like. Some people use bots, and I guess the bots check in on their videos and it pushes their numbers real high. But and I guess that sort of robs, from my understanding of this long ass email they sent me, it robs YouTube of money, because it looks like they're getting more content viewers than what they are, but it's really people that are using some kind of system to push that. But I guess their systems doesn't hit the like button. So that might be one of the reasons why they're cutting down the notifications, and a lot of people aren't getting them, and some people are. But yeah, y'all make sure y'all hit like, and it'll definitely put it up there. But yeah, we are at it. We're the crossroad with the breed, and I think one thing that's very good about this is they've set the table to make us not look crazy. You know, when they would half of the time do something right, it will make us look crazy if we complained about them, because they would, pounce a dog out there and be like, look, we're not promoting things. I need them bots like that. We're not promoting bad shit. You know what I mean? Well, I tell you what, the separation is going to pretty much start next month. Honestly, even like I said, I promise you, I put so much work into this, and now I've got a lot more support, so it helps out. You know what I mean? But we really have to get this thing going. You know what I mean? Hey, just keep doing them lives; they get better. But we really have to get this thing going, and everything. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm on live with y'all. Everything for me at this point is political. I am going to be writing congressmen, and I'm going to be writing senators, and I'm going to be writing the national veterinary boards and different things like that. Not me personally. Sometimes it'll be the attorney or the paralegals that write them up for us, and sending them off and trying to gain support and trying to gain avenues and gain some friends into this thing, and maybe being able to get to sit down with some of those political people who are animal lovers and telling them what our mission is and why we believe in healthy dogs and trying to clean up the communities. And I know it'll be a lot of rejection because we still breed dogs, but at the same time, a lot of people, I've gotten some very good responses from some people who are in good places, and it helped out that I had a couple friends there. But I've gotten some very good friends, you know what I mean, that have really been pushing this. And this is what we have to do. We can't be afraid that if if it's a senator having something, or they're having something at a place that is in regards to our dogs, or they're having those open forums where you get to address, your different political people and different things of that nature. We need to show up sometimes. If it's in your area, we need to show up sometimes, and we need to let our voices be heard, because I'm telling you right now, and especially like at the council meetings and what your politicians are hearing right now, is they are only hearing people they always asking somebody if they got a fucking muzzle, you know what I mean, and it be those small dogs that bite everybody. But the things of it is that they're only hearing the negative. They're only hearing people call in. I just seen an article here. Well, it wasn't an article. It was actually on Facebook when they talked about the gentleman getting killed, unfortunately, and God bless him. And I do mean that with all sincerity. By the two American bullies. The first thing that people jumped on there and said is, ban all of those dogs. I seen that statement so many times as soon as that thing went up, and that's all they're hearing. They're not seeing good examples. And then when you Google an American bully, you start to see the idiotic ABKC shows and the exotic shows and all of the tragedy that goes on around this breed, and people misrepresenting this breed, and it makes it a harder and harder discussion for us to have as to why our breed should be better and why people should support us. This is why our voices have to be heard. If y'all see me doing things with veterinarians, or you see me doing things with some of the poodle breeders or some of the Rottweiler breeders need help too. There's the way they screwing that breed up. But and we are a registry, so we're not only the American bully. We want to help all of the breeds that we have be on the best possible ground that they can be. This is why y'all will see a transition to where I'm not actually working with the registry much once it's open. As far as like in the office and all that shit, I'm not going to be doing any of that stuff. My job is basically campaigning. Campaigning like I'm running for somebody's office, but campaigning for the breed. Healthy Dogs Matter will be everywhere. Trust me, it'll be everywhere, and it's going to be a lot of talk about it. And this is what I actually wanted to do with everything. You know what I mean? I wanted to be able to get on the plane a lot and fly out, and I might go to Russell Rottweiler Ranch. Yes, sir. You know, and sit down and have a good conversation, or we do it, do FaceTime or whatever. But start putting a face to people who actually love and care about their dogs and can represent their dogs in a better fashion than what we see all over the internet. We have to have this. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Oh, Mr. Alexander, that's already written. You know what I mean? We might have a triple show to where you see three of the registry show up. That's pretty much going to be in the works. We are united in what we're doing. We're pushing this community to be better. And this is hey, I appreciate that, Russell. I'm gonna take you up on that offer too. But you know, we have to start having good people. Like, you know, my man Nick doesn't live too far away, you know, and that's my dude, so that's gonna be an easy interview. But you know, I need to be able to sit down with him and his lovely wife and discuss how their dogs are family members and how their dogs live, because I've seen their dogs live as family members. They're very good. They have children. They have no issues. They're the very perfect type of people to interview. You know what I mean? Well-spoken people. You know, people who take care of their dogs, people who try to have their dogs active as family and different things like that. We need that. We need more people, you know, that are going to show. And I know a lot of y'all are like that. I see some of y'all ridiculous pictures, and I'm gonna tell y'all one thing: keep them damn sweaters and coats off them dogs. Your dogs look crazy. I seen the one damn dog. My man sent me a picture of a puppy he got from me, and the damn dog. It was a dog, but it had a dinosaur hoodie on, so it had the ridges going up the back of the. Oh, I love that picture, but I died laughing. I said, damn it, these fur moms, they will throw anything on these dogs. You know? But, you know what I mean? Hey. You know what I mean? It's absolutely crazy, but it's a beautiful thing. You know what I'm saying? It's a beautiful thing. I feel you, T. Lottie. It's a beautiful thing. This is what we need. You know, we need to represent these dogs in a different fashion. You know what I mean? Yeah, I know you do, Nick, and that's important. You know, I've been doing more and more work with the boys that I have here, and you know, trying to get them out. I'm trying to get my little service dog thing so I can start taking them in the store with me and starting to do that, letting people see them more, trying to get them. I'm actually try to. Odell has such a gentle nature. I'm actually going to try to get him into this program to where he goes to nursing homes and visits the people at nursing homes and they can pet them and, you know, different things like that, just to show up. I know it's another program to where they take the dogs to the hospitals for kids to mess with them, and they get a chance to do that type of thing. But we have, you know what I mean? We have, ain't nobody wearing no damn Michigan bomber. Don't you do that to that dog. That is terrorist activities. OH. But we, you know what I mean? But we have to do better. You know what I mean? We have to do better. Hey man, I tell you, hey Nick, it's unstoppable right now. You know, it's unstoppable. But you know, we have to keep on doing. We have to keep on doing the right thing by this breed and representing this breed. And I think sometimes people misunderstand me because throughout the years I'm always in some controversy and it's getting better. But I argue with people, or people feel like they want to argue with me just because I'm probably like the anti-face for most of those people. And it's cool, man. You know, I'm cool with it. You know, I'm on better ground so I can do more things. But it's not about me. It's about the breed, you know. And everything that I set up, I want to set up more people to have an opportunity to talk to more people. And look, here we go, them whole outfits on the dog. I seen a dog that had some little jeans on. That fucked me up right there. The dog had some little jeans on and like it was like a little button down. It was crazy. It wasn't a bully though, but I was like, yeah, these people getting their money off these damn dogs. I asked the lady, I said, do you have to pull his pants down to go pee? She said, yeah, he knows when he got to go out, I take his pants. Oh, man. But we're getting down towards the end. But that's a lot of the plans, and I didn't even get on the importance of phenotype, which this was all supposed to be about. Maybe we'll get that in. Um, I don't know if I'm going to be on Thursday. If I miss Thursday, that means I'm doing the driving. But if I miss, he said they tested them up like Tinder profiles. Yeah, yeah. I'll wait till I send you this one. I'm gonna post it. I'm gonna post it. But the main thing we need to do is we just have to reestablish some things. We can, and like I told y'all, and I definitely will go on another day this week, depending on how things go. But one of the things is, maybe I'll record a nice video about that, about the importance of what we do with these with the phenotype. And y'all seen me and Nori go back and forth a little bit. And the thing I can tell y'all about this is we're lost as far as the true lineage of the American bully. But the one thing we're not lost on is what the American bully should be. And that's what we have to breed towards. We have to reestablish what the dog is. I have to do my best to give y'all some great examples of what we're aiming for, which will definitely not be a bulldog and definitely not be a terrier. It will be an American bully. And then we have to emphasize things like health. We have to emphasize great conformation. And most importantly, we have to emphasize great temperament. And if we can get these things done, we can reestablish the breed and we can start to push the breed in the right direction. This is the only way to go, people. Right now, we're in a bad place. You know what I mean? We're in a very bad place. I understand it. But we do have to paint a pretty picture so that we can show the rest of the world that we're still here and we're still thriving. We do need to make connections. We need to go outside of this box. Those of you like who are my friends, Nick's been around and been my dude for years. Much love to my brother. They've always heard me talk about, the importance of trying to have doctors and different things like that come out. We have to do that. You know what I mean? I know that I'm a cool motherfucker. I wear my little sunglasses. I got a couple jokes every now and then. I'm married to a superstar. But people ain't gonna want to listen to me. You know what I mean? I'm a damn Cleveland Browns fan. I'm a pretty cool motherfucker. But they ain't gonna listen to me. And I understand that. I'm not being, whatever. I understand that certain people aren't going to listen to me. That's why it's going to be very, very important to have people with white coats come on here from time to time and tell their medical perspective and educate the community. It's going to be very, very interesting to see if a couple of these politicians are willing to sit down with me and just tell me the stories about their dogs, and maybe we get into a conversation about the importance of taking care of the dogs properly and doing things properly. But I want to get different faces in, and we need different faces. We need different communities to start coming in and feeling you know what I mean, and start feeling good about themselves. You know what I mean? Well, a WBA dog is a tbkc dog. Keep in mind, I'm a WBA judge. You know what I mean? I will be judging for the WBA. They've already got me lined up to go to Columbia. So you know what I mean. The thing of it is that, yeah, absolutely, Chris. If things align with what we're trying to do, we're not trying to do the ABKC thing to where, if you register with anybody else, we don't want us around. You know what I mean? Oh man, here we go. Now they want to talk bad on the Browns. It's one thing you talk about my woman, but now you want to talk about the Brownies. Then I'd have had to hear about this damn team from up north. I love y'all, but y'all something else, man. But it's one of those things that, and I know some people's like, man, I feel you, but it just sounds, because we haven't seen that. But I do want to do more things where we got the bounce houses for kids out at the shows, sometimes handing out some free hot dogs and, having real barbecues, filling up the trash cans with drinks and different things, and, setting the environment of like it used to be, where people can come out and listen to speakers talk, show your dog, be in a community where it's more than American bullies, Oh man, shut up, Tyrone. You ain't gonna talk about my Browns. Super Bowl next year. It's our year. It's our year. You know what I'm saying? It's our year. But you know, this is going to be of the utmost importance. You know, I think one of the things, and I'll talk about that at a later time. You know what I mean? Is that yeah, we're going to we got a big ass. I'm gonna tell y'all. I ain't gonna block you. You know, I ain't gonna block you. I gotta keep you around so you can see my Super Bowl party next year. I was just in Ohio, man. Lit, man. When I tell you, and that's why I say it's God, man. When you land I landed home, right? And I know my family was probably like, what the fuck? People was literally stopping me in traffic at home and shit. And they're like, man, you really is a star, huh? But when I tell y'all the Canton, Ohio show is going to be something, that show is going to be something. That show is going to be something. It's going to be something special. It is. I have a good reason. Hey Justin, she probably moved to Ohio to look for one of them Ohio players, man. You ain't lose nothing though, because if she messing with one of them dirty Ohio players, you know what I'm saying, she probably done caught something. But but I tell you what, man, I have literally like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people in Ohio. I'm predicting this right now, and I'm telling y'all, the Canton, Ohio show will probably be our biggest show for 2 years in a row. And it's not that I'm not going to try to beat it. It's just the fact that I've got so many people from Cleveland, Youngstown, all these surrounding areas of Canton. I've already got people checking in from Pittsburgh. I've got a lot of my, you know, up north. I don't say that state up north, but they know who I'm talking about. A lot of them saying that they would drive down. My Indiana crew, even my homies over in Chicago is like, oh, we'll all blow through. And I've got like a huge, it's crazy how much this rumored show has taken off, you know what I mean? And then keep in mind, I told you I got one of the biggest families in the world. So I'm looking forward to that show. I'm looking forward to what Byron is going to do down here in Houston. You know what I mean? I can't wait to get to Cali. You know, that's home of the WBA, but we will definitely be out there, man. And it's going to be a good time, man. It's going to be a very, very good time. And we just have to reestablish ourselves, man. This has been one of the best talks that we've had in a long time because it wasn't no BS. I think they got rid of maybe they got a spam for the trolls today. I don't know what, but it was great, man. And I'm going to do a video, and maybe we'll talk about it again when I go live. But I want to talk about those. I want to talk about the importance of us focusing on phenotype and DNA testing. It'll make sense throughout the video that you'll understand that we can't worry about a lot of things. But if you control the DNA being accurate on the pedigrees and the judges being upstanding, which I'm sure they will be, and, you know, doing everything the right way, eventually you'll control the breed, the look, and the genetics that you're going for. You know, as long as we can control the lies that have been told over the last 25 years and don't allow those to continue, we'll be able to weed out the dogs that don't belong in the breed for one reason or another. And then our overall breeding stock will be off the charts. A bunch of healthy dogs that actually fit the genotype and the phenotype that we're looking for. But I'll do that video in detail, man. I thank y'all as always for giving me a couple hours of your time. It really do make me feel special from time to time. And I mean that because y'all don't have to listen to my mouth. But, you know, as I always say, man, reach out to your family. It was such a blessing to talk to so many of my people this week. It gave me a different energy. And I tell you what, you know what I mean? If you're going to eat, don't be eating that Walmart chicken that had my stomach bubbling. A prolapse may occur every heat, but it's not guaranteed that it will occur every heat. I've seen dogs that had it once and it never came back. You know what I mean? If you're gonna drink, you better drink good and don't be drinking the Mike's Hard Lemonade with all that damn sugar in there and get your stomach bubbling. I don't know if it was the chicken that had my stomach bubbling or the Mike's. And if you're gonna smoke, make sure you get you some of that Mike Tyson strand, some of that puff twice, and for 3 hours you're nice, and not that old backyard boogie that your uncle been growing since the 70s. Too many sticks, too many seeds, not enough weed. And if you're gonna do that thing that me and Rihanna did to make them twins and had all 3 of my babies floating in the sky in the Super Bowl, you better do it right and make sure that you do it twice. Because if not, he or she might leave your ass. Inbox me, Tyrone. It's all good. We'll get it together, my brother. I think that was, yeah. Inbox me on the page. We'll get everything together, my brother. But hey, I appreciate you. Stay blessed, Rico. I appreciate all y'all. God bless y'all. I will post up whenever we're going to be back this upcoming week. I do work with a rescue, and they might need me to drive this week, save a couple lives. So if that happens, it'll probably be Saturday that I'll be back on here. If not, I will be back on here Thursday morning. Until next time, y'all. God bless y'all. Much love. Peace.